For thousands of years, one metal has outlived every empire. Gold. Kings fought for it. Nations trusted it. Currencies were built on it. This is the story of how gold shaped global power and why it still matters today. Welcome back to The Historian. In the last episode, we saw what happens when money breaks. Today, in episode 4, we explore what societies turn to for stability. A metal that could not be printed. Gold. So, gold. How did this shiny yellow metal become the ultimate form of money? It wasn't chosen by accident. Think about it. Gold doesn't rust or corrode. It's incredibly dense, so a small amount holds a lot of value. It's rare, but not so rare that you can't find it. It's also easy to divide into smaller units, like coins. It's instantly recognizable. But the most important quality, people across completely different cultures who didn't even speak the same language, all independently came to the same conclusion. They trusted it, from the pharaohs of ancient Egypt, who were buried in it, to the emperors of Rome who adorned themselves in it. Gold symbolized wealth, power, and a sense of permanence in a changing world. It was the universal language of value. With that kind of universal appeal, it's no surprise that empires rose on foundations of gold. It wasn't just about looking rich. Gold was the engine of power. The Roman Empire, for instance, didn't just conquer lands. It taxed its provinces in gold. These gold payments funded their legendary legions, built their incredible aqueducts, and sustained their vast bureaucracy. Centuries later, Spain sailed across the Atlantic, driven by legends of cities made of gold. The conquest of the Americas brought a massive influx of gold and silver back to Europe, fundamentally reshaping the global economy. European powers then engaged in a frantic race to control gold mines across Africa, Asia, and the Americas. The simple equation was, control the gold, and you control the power. Gold-funded armies, built powerful navies, and bankrolled colonial expansion. It was the ultimate prize in the great game of empires. As the world moved from ancient empires to modern nations, gold's role evolved. But it didn't disappear. It became more sophisticated. The Industrial Revolution brought about a huge increase in trade and economic activity. We needed a more efficient way to handle all these transactions than just carrying around bags of coins. This is where paper money really came into its own. But people were still skeptical. How could a piece of paper have value? The answer was gold. Paper money became a promise. A certificate that said you could, at any time, walk into a bank and exchange this piece of paper for a specific amount of real, physical gold. This system was called the gold standard. It was brilliant in its simplicity. It placed a hard limit on how much money a government could create. You couldn't just print more money unless you had more gold to back it up. This created incredible stability in exchange rates between countries, which was fantastic for international trade. For the better part of a century, the gold standard was the bedrock of the global financial system. But this stability came at a cost. It tied the hands of governments. The gold standard worked well in peacetime, but it became a serious problem during times of crisis. Think about World War I. Nations needed to mobilize their entire economies for the war effort. They had to spend astronomical sums on soldiers, weapons, and supplies. The problem was, their spending was limited by the amount of gold they held in their vaults. To survive, to win the war, governments had to make a choice. They chose to break the promise. One by one, countries suspended the gold standard, allowing them to print the money they desperately needed. What was supposed to be a temporary measure to get through the war started to become a permanent change. After the war, especially during the Great Depression, the rigid nature of the gold standard was blamed for making the economic crises worse. Governments wanted more flexibility to manage their economies, to fight unemployment and stimulate growth. And so, the world slowly but surely moved away from gold-backed money. Money became more flexible, but it also became less stable, with gold no longer acting as the anchor of the global financial system. A new kind of competition emerged. Power shifted. Instead of being based on a physical commodity, the value of a currency now depended on trust, economic strength, and political stability. It became a competition between nations. For a long time, the British pound sterling was the king. The British Empire was so vast that its currency was used for trade all over the world. But after 2 world wars, Britain's power declined, and a new champion rose to take its place. The United States dollar. America emerged from World War II as the world's dominant economic and military power. The dollar became the new global reserve currency, the one everyone turned to for international trade and finance. Gold faded from our daily lives. You no longer saw gold coins in circulation, and you couldn't exchange your dollars for gold at the bank. But even though it disappeared from view, it did not disappear from influence. So where does that leave gold today? It no longer officially backs any major currency. You could be forgiven for thinking it's just an old relic, a shiny rock we use for jewelry. But here's the fascinating part. Central banks, the very institutions that manage national currencies, still hold massive amounts of it. The United States, Germany, Italy, France, they all have huge gold reserves. Why? If it's not money anymore, why keep it? The answer is simple. Gold has no counterparty risk. A dollar bill is a promise from the US government. A bond is a promise from a company. But gold is just gold. It's a physical asset that isn't dependent on anyone's promise to pay. In times of great uncertainty, when people lose trust in governments, in banks, in the entire financial system, gold becomes the ultimate safe haven, a refuge. So, is gold still relevant? It's a huge debate. Some economists and investors call it an outdated relic. A barbarous relic, as one famous economist put it. They argue it produces no income, and its value is based purely on speculation. Others see it as the ultimate form of financial insurance, a hedge against inflation, crisis, and the unknown. What we do know from history is this. Gold has survived every single monetary system ever created. It has outlasted every empire, every king, and every currency. Its specific role changes over time, from coin to standard to reserve asset, but its fundamental meaning as a store of value and a symbol of wealth remains. Gold's story is the story of money itself. It created empires, and it also limited the power of governments. Its influence has shaped our world in ways we're still grappling with today. But as the direct link between gold and money was severed, one currency rose to fill the void and dominate the entire planet. In the next episode, we'll explore the incredible story of how the US dollar replaced gold to become the undisputed ruler of the global economy. Subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of our story. Thanks for watching, Historian.